Guys, and welcome to another video. Hope you're doing well. Today we are looking at two of the exact same Boss pedals, but one is made in Taiwan and one is made in Japan, and we're going to see if there is any difference. Now I'm going to preface this by saying some of the pedals in the Boss lineage did go through major changes. For example, the Boss DS1 distortion went through several changes, I think 7 or 8 throughout its course in the Boss catalog. I had a long dash Japanese Boss DS1 and it did sound a lot different to the newer Taiwanese ones at the time, especially in the late 2000s. Now I think Boss have changed it yet again and it's improved it back to what it used to sound like the older Taiwanese models. Maybe not the same as the Japanese models. But this rule tends to be applied across all pedals where there's a mentality that Japanese ones are always better. The two pedals we're going to be looking at today is the Boss OD-2. Now the Japanese one was made about 1985 according to serial number, where the Taiwanese one was made 9 years later in 1994, just before they came out with the OD-2R, which ended up changing some of the circuitry in order to have the remote and is louder and is actually a different pedal, while the majority of the kind of clipping circuit and stuff are the same. Where these two pedals are meant to be exactly the same, one was just made 9 years earlier. So we're really going to test that out. Now, I'm playing my Telecaster as usual, and we're going to stereo tone as usual. I'm not going to change guitars in this video because I want to make it about the pedals. Of course, if you prefer humbuckers, you don't like Telecasters, there is different videos on the OD-2. I did a review of the OD-2 and I think it was the Japanese one I used in that review, and you can go to that if you want to hear more tones. This is more about the differences between these two pedals. So to start off with, I'm going to start with a tone I really like, which is pretty much turbo mode, tone and drive at 12 o'clock, and level as a little bit of a boost. This is probably one of my favorite tones out of the Turbo Overdrive. So we're going to start with that, but we'll dial in a few different tones to compare. So first, let's listen to the clean stereo tone for a bass, and then we'll put on each pedal. So straight off the bat, it does sound, the Taiwanese one does sound a little bit softer. So I'm going to bring the level up and the tone up a little bit and see if that kind of changes the difference. It might just be where the values are. So let's go, I'm going to play a little bit of lead. Okay, so there is actually a difference already in this setting. I do like the Japanese one a little bit better. It has got a little bit of a different low mids going on, a little bit richer somehow. And maybe with a little bit more volume or a little bit more dynamics or something, it just seems to respond a little bit more amp-like. But they are very, very close. So I'm going to turn it off turbo mode. We're going to go for a real light overdrive and boost that level up. Kind of a bright thing, so let me just dial that in. Okay, so that's dialed in as more of a bluesy kind of neck tone. Let's see what the difference is. Definitely a level difference. Bit of a noisy, crackly pot there, so I feel like distortion level wise, the Japanese one has a little bit more, but maybe that's just the gain control, so I'm going to try and match them. So in some ways I actually liked the Taiwanese one a little bit better. Again, they do sound different, which wasn't what I was expecting. There isn't meant to be any difference between these two pedals. Now it could just be the components, like this one is 9 years older, they're both real old now. The Japanese one is older than me, but it does seem to sound a little different, but the gain knob is a little bit crackly as well. So that could be, you know, different tolerance in the gain that is making the difference, but I can't seem to be able to match the tone exactly the same. Did like the Taiwanese one in that instant, although they both sound good. So last I want to just go a full on crank the gain tone, a little bit of brightness too on the turbo mode, see what that sounds like, and then switch to the non-turbo mode and see what that sounds like. Then we might just try it as a booster, see if that sounds any different. So let's go Japanese first. Okay, so I'm going to put them into the gain channel now. On that instance there, I did prefer the Japanese one. I feel like though with single lines there is a bigger difference than with chords for some reason. I think the harder you're hitting, the more distortion going on, the less you can hear the difference. So I'm going to put it into the gain channel. We're going to put the gain down a little bit. Turbo mode pretty much all the way off. Turbo mode level on full. So now on the gain channel, I'm going to play the tone before we put the turbo overdrives on, and then we'll compare them doing their it's kind of more like a gain boost than it is a volume boost because these don't really have that much level. Might put the tone up a bit. We want to thin it out a little bit so it doesn't get too muddy. The Japanese one first. So that was comparing the two OD-2s, one made in Japan and one made in Taiwan. Now, to my ears, there is a difference. It's mainly in the gain control, and whether that's just the tolerance of that particular gain control, it might not apply across all of the different Japanese and all of the different Taiwanese made ones. I do find the Japanese one sounds great to my ears, though the Taiwanese also sounds great. I think there was a little bit more muddiness in the Japanese one, but that also meant a little bit more richness and thickness, so it depends on what you're going for. This one sounded a little bit more plasticky, but really a much of a muchness. They still sound like a Boss overdrive, so I don't think you really need to pay a lot more for the Japanese one, but it's really up to you. They both use the 12 volt ACA adapter, so there is no advantage with the 9 volt version, though you can convert them. So yeah, either way, great overdrive sound. So thanks for watching. I am going to do a video where I stack these, so watch out for that as well, and I'll see you next time.